I have a prayer that I pray that I learned from a pastor friend in Alabama, and he taught me this prayer. It goes like this: Lord, the answer is yes, even before you ask. It's yes, even before you ask. Let me talk to you about a fishing story and your yes, Lord, associated with that story. I really don't fish. I've been fishing maybe a few times, but I am by no means a fisherman, and I don't even enjoy it. You always hear people telling their fish story where the fish seems to get bigger and bigger the longer that they tell the story. In actuality, they may start off catching Nemo, but over time they hook Jaws by the end of the story. Today in the 260 journey, we land in Luke 5, and this is a great fish story. Peter has a great fish story for us in this passage. But let me say this: I want my own fish story. I'll explain that shortly, but let me tell you Peter's fish story. Starts in verse 1. It happened that while the crowd was pressing around and listening to the word of God, he was standing by the lake of Gennesaret. And he saw two boats lying on the edge of the lake, but the fishermen had gotten out of them and were washing their nets. He got into one of the boats, which was Simon's, and asked him to put out a little way from land. He sat down and began teaching the people from the boat. And when he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Put out into the deep water and let down your nets for a catch." Simon answered, "Master, we've worked hard all night and caught nothing. But I'll do as you say, and I'll let down the nets." When they let them down, they enclosed a great quantity of fish. This is their fish story. And their nets began to break. There was so many fish that they had to signal their partners in the other boat for them to come and help them. And they came and filled both of the boats so that there were so many fish that they both began to sink. But when Simon Peter saw that, he fell down at Jesus' feet, saying, "Go away from me, Lord, for I am a sinful man." For amazement had seized him and all his companions because of the catch of fish which they had taken. Don't miss those first few words that I think are really significant. Verse 2, Jesus saw two boats. Verse 3, he got into one. He saw two and got into one. And I'm asking the question, would it have been my boat that he would have gotten into? Why is that important? That's the boat the miracle came from. That's the boat that had the big fish story attached to it. So many fish that the net broke, and so many fish that the boat began to sink. But something else happened. Verse 7 says, when the net was breaking, they had a signal to their partners in the other boat. That's boat number 2 of the story. The boat that wasn't chosen. Peter got the miracle, and the other boat got the overflow. The other boat didn't have Jesus preach from it. The other boat didn't have Jesus challenge them to go deeper. The other boat didn't hear fishing commands from a carpenter. The other boat got to participate with the fish. The other boat didn't get a fish story, but they got to tell another man's fish story. And the more I thought about this, I really want God to choose me. I want him to pick my boat today. I want God to pick my family, my church. I'm tired of telling other people's fish stories. I'm tired of getting to experience other people's obedience. I think it's time for me to go deeper. It's time for us to hear from God for ourselves. It's time for me to let the carpenter tell the experienced man, "You don't really know everything, do what I say." And it's time for me to get my own fish story. Ever been tired of secondhand fish stories? There are always two boats ready. And really, I want Jesus to use my boat. Thanks for joining the 260 journey.